Welcome to the Gateway Center for World Mission. When I first committed to the Lord to go wherever and do whatever He wanted, I asked the Lord what was on His heart. One word came to my spirit: nations. He specifically called me to come alongside the leaders in those nations. So for 13 years I worked with a ministry in churches mobilizing missions. I began to see missionary after missionary struggling to get to the field. I looked at leaders in the nations crying out for badly needed training. Most churches had some kind of a missions program, and they talked about it, but not much involvement. One church, however, was a small church, caught the vision, and they adopted a missionary in an unreached people. And after about a year of supporting them, they said, we need to go see them. So they went and met the missionaries and found them to be exhausted and almost ready to leave the field. Their love and encouragement kept that missionary couple on the field, and out of that ministry the Lord birthed a movement that now reaches 4 nations. In response, my wife and I formed the Gateway Center for World Mission in September of 2002 to work directly with leaders in the nations and missionaries among them, beginning with those that had the access in unreached peoples. Jesus' last command was to make disciples of all nations. Our call is to make disciple-making disciplers or leaders who will in turn make other leaders who disciple others and form communities that disciple disciplers. That sounds like a lot of church double talk, but in reality, disciples have to replicate themselves, and they need leaders to equip them, or people just become Christians and the gospel in the unreached wanes and is lacking. One leader in East Africa connected with us, and he said, the mission and evangelism department is dead. It's been dead for 15 years. We have nothing. Can you come and help us? So we asked the Lord, well, what can we do? God said that the keys were the Word, prayer, and the Holy Spirit. And out of that, He birthed a movement of discipleship in over 600 churches. It's now reaching into other parts of East Africa. On one of the trips back to the airport, the leader turned to me and he said, Ken, in seminary they taught us to make Christians. You taught us to make disciples. Since the founding of our ministry, the Lord has blessed us to be able to train hundreds of leaders in 10 gateway nations who are in a position to bring the gospel to unreached peoples. However, today, 96.7% of the missionaries go to the 46.3% of the population that already have the gospel witness. Only 3.3% of the missionaries today go to the 56.7% of the world's population that has no witness or church among them. The Lord has given us a new challenge. A challenge is to spark a movement that will launch 1 million missionaries into the harvest. We can only do that with Him. Our goal is to see these missionaries called, fully equipped, cared for, and covered with prayer. Our strategy is to join with other like-minded ministries to equip whole networks of missionaries and churches to make self-replicating disciples, giving priority to those who focused on unreached peoples. These partnerships will empower us to multiply the mission force in a dimension that's greater than each of us can do alone. Most of these missionaries will be people we don't know personally. We won't understand their language, and they will go in places that we can't walk in. In the coming year alone, we are targeting 3 new nations, and we will continue to target nations until 1 million missionaries have been thrust into the harvest. Imagine the joy of the Lord hearing the songs of the families of the Lord and all of creation with them. As you explore the ministry of the Gateway Center, ask the Lord how you might be involved. Remember, together we can be and do more than each of us can do alone. Thank you.